Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
Crash. You son of... God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you own it. It is Monday, April 4th, 2022, guys, and it is a interesting day. Listen, this week I thought that there was going to be absolutely nothing to talk about, and then Elon Musk drops this bombshell. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to give you the 5 reasons why I think this is a totally epic move for investors and for Twitter users alike. We're going to get into all of that. I'm looking at the stock market right now, and indices, we got the S&P 500 it's up around 0.68%. The Dow's up around, it was red this morning and actually back into the green, up 67 points. No big deal there. But the big one is the NASDAQ. It's up 251 points, almost 2%. The NASDAQ is up, and actually oil's back up as well. Well over $100 a barrel, now sitting at 104. Guys, before we get into anything, as you always know, we're going to get into the starting 5. If you were here first, you would have made that starting 5. Tiger's Edge, Philip Stroh, Jeff Ponica, Arnie Van Acker, and Slacker Ted. You all are starting 5. If you missed the starting 5, it's probably because you didn't hit that notification bell. So hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe, and on your way in the door, hit that like button as well. Guys, today's stream has been brought to you by the Chaos Crew. Hit the join button next to subscribe, or go to ownthechaos.com and get your watch list that I put out before the market opens each and every morning. I put 5 stocks together with great fundamental analysis, great technical analysis, and you can only get that if you're part of the crew. So hit the join button next to subscribe. Good God. And then go to ownthechaos.com. You get all kinds of other goodies as well. There's people that are in the chat that are part of the Chaos Crew that can attest to just how great of a community it is. You get access to our Discord group. I do private live streams, all kinds of great stuff to just provide you guys with extra value. And we get to talk about all kinds of stuff, sometimes stock related, sometimes not. It also just helps support the channel and everything you see behind you as well. Would love to have you guys as a part of the crew. Guys, what is going on, man? What is going on? I see a lot of people in the chat already buzzing about what's going on. So let's take a look. All right, let's short Twitter, but not yet, says Claudia R. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I got a lot of thoughts about this, so we'll get into it in just a sec. Savvy Money Show says, yeah, what a day. I mean, if you're in growth stocks, you're absolutely crushing it right now. My Microsoft trade that I'm in right now is doing really, really well, among other things, right? Even some of the stuff that, as we've talked about, stocks that have been really sensitive to rate hikes, your Palantirs, your Affirms, SoFi is even started to make a move up above $10. It fell back a little bit today, but SoFi, those are 3 trades that I'm in right now that are actually doing really well too. Penn National also actually had some pretty decent moves today on news about some good news in Canada as it relates to the score, which they own fully. They own outright. So good stuff for Penn National and some of the gaming stocks as well. I see you guys in here. What's up, Kevin Hawthorne? What's up, Snookeroo? Good to see you, man. What's up, Savvy Money Show? Not even sad that I sold Twitter a month before Elon bought it. Yes, all good stuff. Analysis is a good thing. Yes, absolutely. Elon will take Dogecoin to the moon. Let's start with Dogecoin tip jar. Yeah, so there's a lot of speculation around that. And looks like Savvy says when Jack asked Elon how to make Twitter profitable, I don't remember him saying, Jack, resign and sell me your shares. I don't recall that either. I don't think that was a thing, but what's up? What's up, everybody? So yes, if you guys didn't catch the news, Elon Musk purchased 9.2% of stake, 9.2% stake in Twitter, which accounted for around 73 million and some change as far as shares are concerned, about $3 billion. To to put that in context, it's only about 1% of Elon's wealth, by the way. Isn't that wild? $3 billion, which means that Twitter is only valued at around, if you look at the market caps, well, now it's around 40 billion. Before the market opened, it was only around 32, 33, somewhere around there. So I would love to get your guys' thoughts on this in general. So please make sure you're putting in some thoughts in the chat, because I would really love to give just create some more conversation revolving around this. But that's what took place on March 14th. That's when Elon decided to do this. And there's a couple of things to consider. So we can look at Twitter right now. It's trading around, it's up 27%, one of the top 5 biggest days that it's ever had, which is pretty wild. Here's the other unbelievable thing. You look at Twitter. If you bought Twitter on its IPO day, let's look at the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. If you bought Twitter on IPO day and you've held all the way up until now, which was back in 2013, you're at break even. You're at break fucking even if you've been owning Twitter for the last 10 years. Almost. Isn't that insane? So this media company, the social media company, has been around and been publicly traded for nearly 10 years, and it has not been profitable for anybody who decided to buy on day one and hold all the way through. Just hasn't been profitable for any of those people. Absolutely wild. And I think that leads me to one of the reasons why I actually like this purchase on Elon's part. And I think that there's definitely a lot of reason to like it. So, first one for me, actually, you know what? Let's take a look at some other stuff too. So there's been some very interesting comments on Twitter about this. So let's take a look at Elon's comment from today. This is just his first comment today. He just says, "Oh, hey, hi." That was the only response that we've heard from him as far as this news revolving Twitter. And I wanted to talk about this. So we've kind of been seeing some of the breadcrumbs here as far as Twitter is concerned. Elon Musk was tweeted out on March 25th, free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. Do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? 2 million votes came in. 70% said no. 29% said yes. And he had mentioned the consequence of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully. Nobody knew at the time that he had already bought nearly 10% of the company, right? So keep that in mind as we continue to go on. Some really funny comments, though. Look, this is one. Shout out to Dr. Parikh Patel on Twitter. Elon Musk at Twitter's next board meeting after buying 9.2% of the company. That's hilarious. We got Kenny Lay out here. Shout out to Kenny Lay. If you don't follow him on Twitter, please go follow him. He is hilarious. Obviously, this is pretty funny too. The king of memes, getting memed on Twitter, is just absolute gold. We have that is hilarious. We got another one from Kenny Lay. This is actually interaction on the question that Elon asked about a new platform being needed. Somebody had mentioned that Chairman of Wall Street Bets said just buy Twitter and change the bird logo to a Doge. He thought that would be awesome. Another one here, Elon Musk takes 9.2% passive stake in Twitter. The Twitter executives, you can see the reaction there. Pretty awesome. And then we have Carl Quintanilla from CNBC, second best day ever after its IPO debut on November 2013 when it gained 72%. You guys know the story there. So really interesting stuff, right? I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, and where to go from here. And for those of you wanting to know about the earnings, by the way, I know a lot of you guys come here for earnings. There's not a whole lot of earnings. We're almost there. We're almost to earnings season. We'll get there. But I thought that this was just going to be something that would be very interesting to talk about. So I wanted to also bring this up too. Let me bring this over just to kind of give you like a context of what we're actually seeing, a visual, if you will, of what Elon actually owns. Here's the SC 13 filing here. 13G. Whenever anybody owns more than 5% of a company, you have to file this 13G, or 13G must be filed. It would be controlling interest if it, or it would not be passive, I guess, or controlling interest if it was like a 13F or D. That's higher than 10%. So I'm curious as to the reasoning behind going with a 9.2. The story isn't over here as far as I'm concerned. You look at this. This is the filing here, 73.4 million shares of Twitter. That's going to be really tough for me. Tesla, Twitter. Twitter, Twatter. 9.2% of common stock. So it looks as if he just bought it all out in the free market. And I find this interesting. I think that there's a lot more to this, and 5 reasons why I think. Let's go with number 1 here. The first reason why I think this is actually going to be good for Twitter and the investors of Twitter in general. I think it's going to be great for the company. So if by some chance, and I think they should, and we're going to get to that later on in this list, but the potential for growth, I'm seriously considering buying some Twitter at this point because of Elon's involvement here. I'm going to give it a couple days to let it play out, because I usually don't buy something on the first move up like this. If it's going to have a continued move, then maybe I'll chalk it up to missed opportunity. But if we see a little bit of a pullback, I'm going to probably jump on that. But growth is reason number 1. Elon having this much stake in the company gives them the possibility of growth, which investors I'm sure will welcome. And I noted earlier about how if you bought this, if you were an early investor on Twitter back in 2013 and you've held on to it ever since, you've made zero money on this. You're break even at best. So that's really tough. And I think that investors would welcome somebody like Elon Musk, who knows how to make money, right? He knows how to run a business, where it seems as if there's been a lot of issues on Twitter on how they actually make money. The company has so much potential, and we've seen how Kathy Wood's been an investor of this as well, and some others. Vanguard also has a pretty decent stake, but Elon Musk now is officially the largest shareholder of Twitter. So this, again, could be very interesting going on the road. I don't think the story is done being written here. Musk has been noted and mentioned Twitter's recent developments and profile pictures linked to non-fungible tokens, saying that the social media company has the wrong priorities. So again, this kind of, I think, speaks to the growth potential here and the growth problem that Twitter has had ever since day one. They just can't figure out how to make money. And I think that there's definitely, with Elon having some influence here, maybe there's something coming down the pipe as far as that's concerned for Twitter, and has me a little bit excited, and has me kind of wondering if I should end up buying some of this if we see a decent pullback. The second one here, I think just talking about this issue, like what I had mentioned as far as the Twitter poll, this could provide, I think it's no secret, right? I'm not trying to play left wing, right wing, but I think it can go without saying that some of the censorship issues that we've seen across all platforms, not just Twitter, have been a problem. And this is what Elon's addressing. And whether you want to make the free speech argument or not, that's up to debate. But it's irrefutable to say that Twitter isn't biased to some degree, right? And I think that there's definitely some issues with this, right? It's mind blowing to me when you see porn on Twitter, but then they block something that's like really dumb to block somebody for, right? Like something that could be misinformation, but you can have porn on there, no problem. Like that's cool. And look, I'm not lying. You can go find porn on Twitter anytime you want, but you say something that might be related to misinformation, or you have somebody who has 500,000 followers that's actually legit that you won't give verification to. Like, there's a lot of this that doesn't make any sense. I think that this reason number 2 is that Elon Musk could have a lot of influence in that category as well and clean a lot of that up, because it's a mess. I mean, I wouldn't say ever since that, but like even when Jack Dorsey was CEO, it was a mess. It still is. Elon Musk also has 80 million followers. That's a huge following. And, there was a lot of speculation as to whether or not he was going to build his own social media platform. But with Twitter being so cheap, even with it trading today, even with today's numbers, it's at $40 billion. That's really not a whole lot for Elon to consider just scooping this up and buying. Or maybe he doesn't even want any interest in this as far as being a CEO, but he wants to be able to influence how it gets ran and maybe help it grow. So with his 80 million followers on Twitter, imagine if he just left the platform, right? Imagine if Elon Musk left the platform. What would that do to Twitter? 80 million followers would be out the door. So not only does he have influence from the company from a social media standpoint, but now he's got skin in the game. And I think this is going to actually help Twitter a lot. Whether you agree with some of the things that he says or not, I think that there's potential for Twitter to become a better platform for it, regardless, from a business standpoint. Number 3, Musk is a doer. I think that when you look at everything that he's done, right now, to be fair, he's made some pretty crazy promises that he hasn't really followed through with just yet. I mean, can we get the Cybertruck on the road, please? And some of his timelines are a little bit off. Some of his timelines don't make a whole lot of sense, or they never really meet up. I mean, we were supposed to have full self-driving, and that hasn't really come to fruition. And you can make several arguments as to why that has or hasn't happened, but nevertheless, he's made some promises out there that are a little bit far-fetched. However, he follows through with a lot of shit, right? I'm sitting here at this desk. You're sitting here watching me on YouTube. Probably, I don't know, either taking a shit, you're watching me taking a shit, which, hey, listen, I appreciate it. Watch me while you take a poop. I appreciate the support no matter where you're at. But you're watching me on Twitter, or you're watching me on YouTube taking a shit, and probably thumbing through Twitter and seeing all the comments about this, while Elon Musk is flying people, or trying to fly people, to fucking Mars, right? And now this guy just took a huge stake in Twitter to potentially turn this around. And again, this is all speculation, guys. This is all speculative. I think that there's a lot to unpack here. But if this is there's got to be a reason he did this, and I think one of the big reasons is to turn the company around, and the fact that he is such a doer and that he can create so many incredible things. Him getting into the social media game just makes a lot of sense. And like I said, given the influence that he has with those 80 million followers, I think this is a huge opportunity for Twitter. So the fact that he is capable of doing such great things, I think also helps. Fourth thing is, I think what would be good for Twitter is they should just give him a board seat. Josh Brown talked about this on CNBC earlier today. They should be immediately giving him the board seat. And I think that this is probably the most likely scenario. I think that Elon Musk actually ends up becoming either a board member, or he might even start to move in to be the chairman of the board to make a real impact and make real decisions with Twitter. It's such a loud platform, right? It's still small time when you compare it to something like Facebook or even Instagram, but there is a lot of users on Twitter. And like I said, he's got 80 million followers. And so giving him a possible board seat or the chairman of the board, which I think is what he's after. If I had to speculate, I think that's what he's after. I don't think he cares about being CEO. I think he just wants that seat at the table. And I think he wants to be King Dingaling as far as the boards are concerned. The board is concerned. So I think that's a possibility, especially if he decides to move in and start to take controlling interest. We start seeing a 13F get filed and Elon Musk's name on it. Watch out. Could he be an active investor? Could he be something like a Carl Icahn or what have you? Or a, Bill Ackman, something along those lines? Maybe. But I think that the more likely scenario is that he wants to actually be in a seat for Twitter. So I think that's another reason why this is an epic move from them. And then finally, guys, we could get the edit button on Twitter. Has anybody thought about this? We could get the edit button on Twitter. Elon could be the guy that gets us the goddamn edit button. Elon Musk, if you are watching this, I know you're not, but if you are, please get us the edit button. For Christ's sake, get us the edit button. So that's number 5. Let me know what you guys think about that top 5, the 5 reasons why I think that this is an epic move. And I'm going to scroll through some of the comments here. Oh boy, there's lots of comments here. I'm loving this. I love this from Savvy Money Show. Do you think he will use the rise to buy more against the asset? No, I think that he's probably either going to buy more of it, or he is going to stick around, and maybe he leverages some of the other holders, right? I mentioned Vanguard being the second largest holder. They're like 8.9, somewhere around that 9% range as well. Maybe he gets some of the other major players that are holders of Twitter and tries to rally the troops, so to speak, gather ideas from there. I don't know if he does anymore. If he does, I think he just buys more of it. I don't think it necessarily matters where it goes from here. And by the way, he's already up $1 billion on this from where he bought it on March 14th. That's the low of the year, by the way. What incredible timing for Elon. Elon should just start trading in the stock market, period. But that was the bottom. That was the bottom of Twitter for the year. It was on March 14th. Pretty wild stuff. We take a look at the chart. I can show you exactly where he bought it at. Whoop. I lost my cursor. There we go. So we go back to the daily chart, and this is where he bought it. Boom. Right here. So pretty damn near close to the bottom. 32.81 was the low on March 14th. The actual low of the year was at 31. So he bought it a whole dollar off of the low. Still made a shit ton of money on it already. Unrealized, of course. They might tax him for that. We'll see how the tax plan goes. But still an unbelievable trade for Elon, that's for sure. There's also, this is interesting. Now Elon sells and locks it in the easy billions, says Zero Blocks. That could be a possibility. I don't think that happens, but wouldn't that be some shit if Elon Musk comes in and just says, thanks for the free money, guys, I'm out? Oh my God. Can you imagine the freak out if that took place? By the way, market's officially closed. Twitter did close up officially 27% on the day. Second largest day it's ever had. It closed at 49.93. Still red. You're still red if you bought this on IPO day. Oh my goodness. If you bought this on IPO day and held through, you're still red. I think he talked to new CEO and liked what he heard. I don't know if I recall that. Do you think that Elon will buy enough shares to vote to take it private? This is actually an interesting question because there's been a lot of speculation as far as that's concerned. I don't know if that makes sense. I think Elon's got a lot going on already. I mean, he's running Tesla, the Boring Company, Starlink, SpaceX, all of that, right? Like, does he really want to get hands deep or elbows deep into this? I don't think so. I would be surprised if he decided to take it private and like had that much, to do with Twitter in general. I love this. Miguel says one does not simply spend $3 billion on another company without having big plans for it. Yeah. Alex John says, can someone buy 10% of Hood right now? Yeah. That would be funny. Words are strong. Yeah. I don't know. Some might argue that. All right. Twitter is literally up $6 since the IPO day. So sad it was destroyed by. Yeah, we'll skip that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to play right side or left side here. It's just it's undeniable that there's been some influence from one side of the aisle on this, and and it just doesn't make any sense as far as like what they actually filter through. Okay. I say Elon should start monetization of tweets with Dogecoin. I think that I would be surprised if there wasn't some sort of influence on Twitter as far as some sort of cryptocurrency where some sort of cryptocurrency gets involved, whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's Doge, something along those lines, I think for sure. Bodie says some people are getting their Cybertruck delivery notification for next month. We got to see whenever Texas goes live. Isn't the Cybertrucks are only coming from the Texas facility, correct? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen. I mean, and it's possible that happens. The Model Y and the Model 3 are selling so hard right now, though. I don't know if they're bothering with the Cybertruck. Maybe it happens. I see a lot of poop jokes. Listen, don't lie to me. You know who you are. You know who you are sitting on your toilet watching Knowing the Chaos. That's okay. As long as you're watching, I'm fine with it. By the way, if you are sitting on the toilet watching On the Chaos right now, hit that like button. We only got 22 likes in the house. That is weak. Absolutely, Claudia. Listen, as somebody who tweets all day, every day, such as yours truly, I would love to have an edit button. You know how many times that I have to put a tweet out and then I got to take it down because I fucked up some sort of, I don't know, typo, whatever, or I missed something, or I missed a hashtag or a hashtag that I, you know, or I put up the wrong GIF or something like that. Yes, give me that damn edit button. You can say that it was edited. That's fine. You can say that I posted it and then I proofread it again and then I finally took care of it. But listen, having an edit button is very important in my life. When I don't have a whole lot of time to delete the whole thing and then rewrite it or even copy and paste, but still got to correct what I needed to correct, it's annoying. Give me an edit button. Yes. Dan Dalton says it's a bit of a worry too. Is he going to be the next Rupert Murdoch, controlling politics through media? I don't think he's interested in politics necessarily. I mean, let's consider this. Elon is not very popular in politics on one side or the other, right? Hasn't really been painted in the best light as far as the government's concerned and politics in general. And we're seeing that right now, right? We saw that when Trump was in office too. They didn't really have a good relationship, and he's never had a good relationship with anybody in public office. So I don't think that Elon's really concerned about politics in general. I think he just wants there to be no bias, or to be the least amount of bias as possible. Again, you know, it could be wrong on that front, but I don't think that should be something that I would be certain worried about or concerned about. All right. Dogecoin tip jar. I see a lot of people talking about that. If they ever add the edit button, it'll be as sad that the running gag will die. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see that Twitter put that out on April Fool's Day about the edit button? So annoying. It's like, God damn it. Kathy just unloaded her Twitter. She's not completely out of Twitter, though, is she? Let's take a look. I'll take a look at that. Pull that up. See if I can look at RK and see where we're at on that. Unless somebody's got, and that's what it comes down to, right? Rich Black or Philip Stroh, the censorship in general, right? And we're seeing that. We saw that with like Joe Rogan recently, and the whole debacle with Spotify and all of that. So I think that there's just a lot of people that are sick of it, Elon being one of them, and now he's taking, you know, action. And he had mentioned in that tweet that it was something that, you know, he said that there would be implications for when people were voting. I'm trying to find the holdings for ARK. Oh. Yeah, I don't think Trump's coming back to Twitter, though. I don't think that's happening. Speaking of which, did anybody see what it did to DWAC today? I mean, the companies that were, I mean, and even the Rumble SPAC, not having good days today. Let me take a look at DWAC. This could have huge implications for companies like that. Yeah, DWAC ended down 10% today. Well, yeah, insult to injury, SWW. All right. Yeah, it looks like Kathy Wood still has some Twitter in some of the ARK ETFs, but so not completely out. But yeah, she did sell some. Sold some Palantir too, right at the bottom, which is one I bought. How about Palantir right at the bottom? Yeah, so this is also with DWAC. So DWAC, two board members of DWAC quit. That's not why it fell down 10%. I don't believe. I think that the influence of Elon Musk going after Twitter probably had a stronger impact on the price action for DWAC today than those board members leaving. Now, granted, it certainly played a role, but I don't think it was as big of a role as Elon going in and scooping up some Twitter and making a buzz. That short ARKK definitely has been paying. Not recently. What's that? SARK? Yeah, SARK. Look at this. So it had been paying. It ain't anymore. Let's take a look at that. Here's the SARK. This is the short ARK fund. It topped March 14th and has not been doing good. So it's down quite a bit. What, 40%? ARKK having a little bit better of a run here. So virtually the same time, March 14th was when ARKK bottomed and has gone up considerably, around 45%. ARKK has gone up. So, yeah, it's actually been doing pretty good as of recent. A lot of the growth stocks have. And I saw somebody asking about this, about growth. Do I think that growth stocks are going to continue to be on the move? I think yes. I think growth stocks are starting to come back. We're starting to see this rotation back in the growth. But again, I want to kind of emphasize this, that I think that growth in general, it's going to be good to be in the growth stocks that are making money. Case in point, Microsoft today up another 2%. It's been rocking and rolling. I think we're actually on the verge of a potential breakout for Microsoft. Just hit 315. I have calls in Microsoft. Let's look at Facebook. Remember, I've been talking about Facebook for some time. A monster bottom move on this. So 185, pause, monster bottom, pause. Okay, 185, and is now just finally closed over the 50-day moving average for the first time since January 4th. The first time since January 4th that Facebook has been above the 50-day moving average. That's pretty significant, in my opinion. Again, another company that's bringing in $40 billion of free cash flow every year. And that is incredible to see it down here. Guess what? It's still cheap. You didn't miss anything, guys. You didn't miss the boat on Facebook, in my opinion. Forward PE is at 18. We'll call it 19 times next year's earnings. Price to sales is still pretty low as well. So fundamentally, it's still very cheap. It's getting a little overheated, getting there. Still not even there. Given the monster move this has had, it's still sitting in the 60s on RSI. So we're looking at the chart here. Again, a closer of the 50-day moving average in nearly 3 months. It has been 3 months. Yeah. And, you're looking at this and thinking to yourself, man, did I miss the boat? My answer, my opinion, don't take my advice, would be, no, you didn't miss the boat. There's still plenty of room for this to run. And I would venture to say the gap probably closes here on Facebook all the way up to 291 in the near future. So I like this one. And we look at some of the other ones as well. Goog, another great day, up another 2%. Amazon has been an absolute monster. Absolute monster. 33.66 from its bottom all the way down to 26.67 in the beginning of March. So these have all had monster moves, and I think these are going to be the ones that continue to own. I know that we love our SoFi, right? SoFi is going to be one that to hold, but it still hasn't had nearly the move. I know that SoFi is cheap. It's $9, but it hasn't had the same move percentage-wise as something like a Facebook has. Not at all. Not at all. If I had $1,000, I'll be buying Facebook over SoFi right now. Now, I own SoFi, just to be clear. I own SoFi, but I also own Facebook. I also own Microsoft. So you can own both of them. But if I had to choose one, I would choose one of the FANGs right now. Even Netflix has had a monster day. Let's look at Netflix real quick. Yeah. Netflix was almost up 5% today. Came up to that resistance at 398.400. And I was talking about this a couple of days ago about Netflix getting into the gaming and how they're kind of like taking a different approach from the other media companies, especially when it comes to live streaming and that sort of thing. So I really like Netflix down here still. I think this is a pretty solid buy. So even with the moves that some of these have had, I still think that there's plenty of room for them to run. And while we're still staying on the topic of Elon Musk, Tesla had an amazing day, up 5.5%. So maybe some of the worries that we were talking about last night during Stock Watch Sunday are not there anymore. Could this have an impact on the sales that we saw? Could this be because investors know the types of moves that Tesla has going to earnings, which are on 420? Could this be because of what Elon did with Twitter? Who knows? But the stock was up 5% today. Monster move. again, another great tech company that makes money. You don't have to worry about it, especially in a rising rate environment. These are all good ones to continue to hang on to, in my opinion. Upstart is killing it. Yeah, that was one. Adrian said Upstart's killing it. So UPST, yes, definitely killing it. Had a really great day, up another 4%, 5%, 4.5. We'll call it 4.5. So a really decent bounce from that 89 level, sitting at 113. So yeah, pretty good day for Upstart as well. All right. Yeah, if you guys want to check out Fat Man Zoom over at Hitchhiker's Guide to Cancer, he's got his, go check out his channel. If you guys, he always gives updates on what's going on with Fat Man Zoom. So go check it out. I try not to talk about what's going on with him too much because you can find out all the information there if you guys are concerned about Fat Man Zoom. He's actually, I think, going to Augusta to go to the Masters. He's living life, guys, and it's awesome to see. Living life. Yeah, of course they are, right? Yeah, 100%. All right. Just added me as a sub, says Rich Black. Am I buying Twitter here? Do I think we go back to all-time highs? First of all, Rich, thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. Second of all, am I buying Twitter? So I said at the top of the show that I'm strongly considering it. I'm not one to usually chase something that's gone up 27% in a day. So I'm going to kind of wait a day or two to see where this lands, because the story isn't done being written. And I think that there could be some profit taking here. I mean, again, this was the second largest day that Twitter's ever had since its IPO. So nearly 10 years, second largest day it's ever had, or biggest gainer that it's ever had. And the number one was it's the day it IPO'd. So to put that in context, do I think that it's going to go up from here? I think there's certainly some potential for that. Do I think it retests all-time highs? If the narrative with Elon Musk continues to get stronger here, yes. There's also things to consider here. We're about 3 weeks away from Twitter's earnings. So I have a couple things that I'm thinking about here. Do I wait a couple of days until the dust settles and maybe it comes back to retreat on some profit taking around $45? You can kind of see here where I'm getting that from. This is a little bit of a support area now that it's rocked back up over that. And so I could see that happening. If there's some profit taking, we see a little bit of a pullback. I like it at 45. But you also have earnings to consider as well. If you buy this close into earnings, there's definitely that risk. We've been seeing a lot of question marks as to whether or not earnings are going to be good. And not only about earnings being good for this quarter, but what are the outlooks going to look like? And so Twitter, obviously being one of the weaker of all the social media platforms with Facebook and Pinterest and Snap, I think that there's definitely a lot of risk with that. And because of that, though, I think that could present me with an opportunity. So perhaps I take a partial position size, to start nibbling a little bit on Twitter if we see a little bit of a pullback, and then wait around for earnings. And then if earnings come out and they're actually good, then perhaps, I start to take on a little bit more. Or even if they're not great, but I know the story here is not done being written with Elon and Twitter and what's going on there, then maybe it presents itself with an opportunity. And I look at it as, hey, this is pretty cheap. Maybe we should take some Twitter here. So I do think that there's a possibility this sees all-time highs. Again, especially if Elon continues to move in on Twitter. I think that's we know the cult-like following he has, right? And the influence he has. He talks about any particular, remember when he said he likes Etsy, not the stock. He just likes Etsy, the company. Remember when Etsy went absolutely bananas that day when he tweeted that out? So I think that there's definitely more to the story. And I think that Twitter could certainly be a buy, but that's my approach. I think what I'm going to do is watch for some sort of pullback, some profit taking, take a little bit, a small position size and kind of work my way in that way. I don't think I want to go in all at once with a full blown position size. So I think that I'm probably going to nibble off a little bit here and there. I will say that I'm probably going to go in with some options calls on this. A little bit further out, maybe take some options calls that don't expire until next year, something like that. Because I do think that would probably be worth it. I think we're going to see some volatility in the near term, which is why I'm a little bit hesitant on taking some options calls, that expire short, in the short term. But I feel very comfortable potentially taking some Twitter calls that are a bit further out. But all right. Looking at some of the comments. Yeah, thanks for that. Rich says good logic, maybe 47, 48, but Elon at the helm is game changer with 9.2% ownership. Yes, earnings may suck as usual. Right. So that's why I'm kind of like playing that a little bit, right? Because we're so close to those earnings. And so I have to make sure that we take that into consideration. Claudia says, oh yeah, talking about Fat Man Zoom. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, guys, if you're new to the channel, Fat Man Zoom was he still is a co-host of mine. He's obviously not been around. And if you're new to the channel, it's because he was recently diagnosed with brain cancer back in early February, and hasn't been back on the show, but a couple of times for obvious reasons, right? But he's living it up. He's crossing some things off the list. He's living life. And the prognosis is not good. Doctors gave him 12 to 18 months to live. So left me all by myself. I'm so lonely. In all seriousness, though, that dude, his outlook on this whole thing has been absolutely incredible. If you want to go follow him, It's at The Hitchhiker's Guide to Cancer. It's his YouTube channel. He's just kind of giving his journey and things he's going through and what he's thinking and all that. So if you want to go follow him, make sure you go follow him over there. He gives an update on what he's got going on, and all that good stuff. So love that guy. And I love you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. And again, if you want to go check out the join button next to subscribe to support the channel even further, I certainly would appreciate it. In return, I give you a watch list of 5 stocks that I put out every morning before the stock market opens. I give in-depth fundamental analysis as well as technical analysis on each one of those stocks and why I think that they're worth watching throughout the day. Every single day before the market opens, I put it up, and it only costs you $4.99. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else. $4.99, right? Me, Kevin, and Jeremy Lafufu and all those other guys are charging you what, $18,000 for that, something like that. I'm only charging $4.99. I just want you all to help me support the studio you see behind you in the channel as well. I'm not trying to take anybody's money or take anybody's lunch money for that matter, and run you all to the poorhouse. But guys, yeah, if you want to support the channel, hit the join button next to subscribe. If you can't see it there, some people can't, go to ownthechaos.com. We'd love to have you guys over there as well. You can get access to our Discord group and private live streams, as well as my portfolio. I give out trade alerts in that Discord, just to let you guys know what I'm up to as far as my trading is concerned. So if y'all are interested in that and want to support the channel, again, hit the join button next to subscribe or go to ownthechaos.com. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow again at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. You know what it is. I go live every day. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.